Hello everyone, welcome to HBN Infotech Tutorials. In this tutorial you will learn how to create a diamond grid, an isometric grid, mechanical 3D models, 2D and 3D isometric maps. Since this tutorial video covers different topics, do not skip any part of the video. If you wish, you can jump to a specific topic that you are interested in through the timestamps in the description below. Also, you can download these templates on my website. The links are given in the description below. If you are visiting my channel for the first time, then please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon for latest tutorial notifications. Now let's see how to create a diamond grid. There are two ways to create these grids. First, I will show you the quick and easiest way. Then later, I will show you the second method, which is slightly tough but highly customizable. First, set up the units of measure to centimeter. To do that, go to File, click on Options, then click on Advanced, then scroll down. Under the Display section, you could see the units of measurements. Select centimeters, click on OK. Next, set the paper size and margins. To do that, click on Layout, click on Size and click on A4. Then click on the small arrow over here. Then click on Margins. Then set 1.5 centimeters on all sides. Then click on the OK button. Next, insert a 12 columns by 26 rows table. To do that, go to Insert tab, click on Table, then click on Insert Table, then type 12 in the columns and 26 in the rows and click on the OK button. Now, select the entire table by clicking on this plus sign and then go to the Layout tab, then enter 1 centimeter for the height and press the Enter key. Now right click on this plus sign and click on Cut. Zoom out the page so that you can see the entire page. Then go to the Insert tab, click on Text box, Simple text box, and then stretch this text box just like this so that it's almost the page size, but make sure it is lesser than the actual page size. Then delete the default content and paste the table inside the text box. Now you can center the text box by clicking on this plus sign and clicking on Center. Then later you can remove the outline of the text box. Now go to the Format, click on Shape Outline and click on No Outline. This removes the outline of the text box. Now you will need to center this text box to the page, but before that adjust the text wrap. So you can just click on Wrap Text and then click on In Front of Text. Then go to the Align and then make sure that Align to Page is selected. If not, you can just click on it. You should see a tick symbol here and then you can just click on Align Center, then go and click on Align Middle as well. So this would align the text box to the center of the page. Now, placing the table inside the text box has a big advantage. I'll tell you in a moment. Now With having the table still selected, go to the Design tab and click on Borders, and then click on the diagonal down border, and again click on diagonal up border. Now you will need to remove the vertical lines. To do that, go to the borders again and click on the inside border. Now if you click away, you could see that the diamond grid is created. Let me zoom in a little bit and show you how this looks. I have used these measurements. You may use a different measurement and do a trial and error yourself. If you want to change the border and fill properties of this table, you will need to select this again, go to the Design tab and then choose Shading to select a fill color or the background color for the table. Now to change the border style, you can click on this option, these options. So first select the style that you want. So if I click on this double line, you will need to reapply the border again. You can just click on this option again and click on the diagonal borders. So you can also try with different thickness and other options. Now let me tell you the advantage of placing the table inside a text box. Now before that, I will undo this. Suppose imagine that you have some artwork on this grid. Now I'll roughly create some artworks. Now in case if you want to separate this artwork from the grid, it's very easy by going to the home, clicking on select and then clicking on selection pane. Now you could see all of the objects on the page in this selection pane. Now in case if you want to separate the artwork from the grid, you can turn off the eye icon here. This hides the text box and you get only the artwork. You can toggle the visibility of the objects in the selection pane anytime you wish by clicking on the eye icon here. Okay, now let us see the second method and also learn how to create isometric grid. Before that, let's understand the need for an isometric grid. An isometric grid or an isometric graph paper facilitates the drawing of an isometric view of 3D objects. This grid is usually made up of series of connected 60-degree triangles. These grids can be used to draw isometric mechanical drawings, isometric arts, isometric maps, and various other isometric models. First, change the paper size to a custom size. So you can just go to the layout and click on this small arrow. Now for the paper, you can set the width for 55 centimeter and height also to 55 centimeter and click on the OK button. Now you can, if this pops up, you can just click on fix and then you can just click on the OK. So you don't have to worry about the margins now. So now I'll just zoom out. You could see that the page is a perfect square. Now insert a line, go to insert tab and click on shape and click on line. Now hold down the shift key on your keyboard and draw a straight line. Now change the outline color as per your choice, and then you can just press Ctrl D key on your keyboard to duplicate the line. So you will need to make 100 copies of this line. So I'll press Ctrl D, Ctrl D. Now it's the fourth copy. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like that. You will have to make 100 copies. Okay, I have made 100 copies of these lines, and now I will need to select all the lines. There are different ways to select multiple objects or shapes in Microsoft Word. The first method is that you can click and select the first shape, and then hold down the shift key on your keyboard and click and select the second shape or object. Just like this, hold down the shift key and keep clicking on the other shapes so that you can select multiple objects. Now the second method would be using the select objects feature. So this is available in the home tab, select and select objects. Now using this, you get a plain arrow. You can draw a selection box just like this. Now if you are using 2010 or later versions, this option might not work. So there is a workaround for this. I'll explain it in a moment. Now let us see the next option. The next option is using the selection pane. So using the selection pane also, you can select multiple objects. All you need to do is click the shapes here. Hold the Control key and click on the shapes list here. So one by one. So this also selects multiple shapes. Since clicking and selecting these shapes is going to be a time consuming method, I'll show you a quick and easy method. What you can do is you can just go to the file menu, click on save as, save this file to old Word 97 2003 document format. So what happens is, if you save this, the document will be saved to the compatibility mode. So you get all the old Microsoft Word features. So now this option will work. So you can just go to select objects. You can draw a selection box and select multiple objects. Now you can see we are able to select multiple objects easily. Now there are some objects out of selection. Now let me try the selection box once again. So I am able to select only till here because these lines are out of the page. So nothing to worry, you can just hold down the shift key and select them as well. So I'll just hold down the shift key and click and select all the other lines. Now once you have selected all the lines, go to the format, click on align, and then make sure align selected objects is selected, and then click on align top. Now group all of the objects together. Just click on group and click on group once again. Now set the width as 40 centimeter and height as 55 centimeter. Now let me zoom out. So far you should have got this vertical lines. Now rotate this grouped lines to a 60 degree, just like this. Then make a copy of this line group by pressing the Ctrl D key, or you can also do a Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Now sometimes if you drag a particular line is selected out of this shape group, so you need to click outside and reselect it once again. Then go to the format, rotate and flip horizontal. Now at this point if you zoom in, you could see that the diamond grid is created. You could see that the diamond grid is created. Now only one last thing is left to create the isometric grid. So all you need to do is make one more duplicate copy of this line group. So I will just deselect and reselect and press the Ctrl D keys, so I get a duplicate copy, and again click outside, once again reselect this, then go to the format, rotate this to a 0 degree, just like this. Now you could see that this helps us create a isometric grid, but before that we will need to align these shape groups together. To do that, you will need to click and select all the 3 shape groups. By holding the shift keys you can do it. So I have selected all the 3 shape groups. Then I will go to the format, align, and then this time I will choose align to page, align center, and then align middle. Now still there is one last thing left. Now group these 3 shape groups as one single group. Again you can just go to format, group and group. So now you can see that this moves as one single object. Now the next thing is you can copy this by right click on copy. Now open up a new file. So this can be a smaller size than the page size we created. So let us say this can be A4 size. Now if you paste it and center this to the page by going to format, align, align to page, align center and align middle. Now you could see that we get only the grid and we don't get this area. So we have cropped it to the page size automatically. So now you can save this as a template and reuse it any number of times you want. Now let us zoom in and have a closer look. Now you could see that the isometric grid is perfectly created, and this method is a perfect method compared to the previous method. Although this is tough, this is highly customizable method. Using this method you can create isometric grids and diamond grids for variant sizes. So now there is one thing you will need to notice. So if you have saved this in a compatibility mode, then this option the selection pane option is not available. So you will need to save this back to the latest Word formats. So we will do that by saving this file save as, and then choose the location, then type a file name, then for the save as type select Word document. This would allow you to save to the latest Word formats, and click on the save button. So if it prompts you to save the file to a upgraded version, just simply click on OK. So now you get this option available, the selection pane. So this option is very important because we will need to control the shape groups visibility. So that we will learn in a moment. Now let us see how to create isometric 3D models. First, I will need to change the grid lines color. So I'll just click on this grid lines, go to the format, shape outline, and select the color that you want. Then I can use the lines to create the 3D model. So now I can take this line, draw along the grid. Now let me draw a simple cube. So I'll start drawing on this point to this point. Just like this. If something has gone wrong, you can undo the action immediately. Okay, now in case if you want to change the outline color, you can just go to the shape outline and choose the outline color. If you want to increase the thickness, you can do it by going to the weight and then choose the outline thickness that you wish. And now in case if you want to apply this outline thickness to other lines as well, then you will need to select this line, go to the home tab, double click on the format painter and click on other lines. Just like this. Now in case if you want to make this line style as the default line color, what you can do is you can make a right click on this and then select set as default line. So this will make this line color and line style as default. Now if you create a new line, you should see that the line color and line style is changed by default. So now let us start let us try a different 3D model. Now I'll go to insert, shapes, line. Now you can see the measurement from here. So this is 3 units. So I'll start from here, 3 units down, and then again 3 units this side. So see, once you have taken, once you have selected a shape or a line or something, you get the format tab and you get the line option here itself. You don't have to go to insert again and again. So So you can take it from here and draw the line. So you can draw along the grid line. So now this is 6 units. So I can just draw from here 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is 1 unit. And then from here it is 2 units. Then again this is 2 units, and here I can complete this. Now again from here this is 2 units, then this is 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit, and 1 unit. Now from here it is 1 unit, then this is 6 units, 4, 5, 6. See, this is not a sophisticated software, I mean 3D software, and you cannot expect 100% accuracy, but we can try up to a 90%. Now I'll finish this. So this grid line has helped us draw the 3D model quickly and easily. So now if you want to separate this grid line from separate the 3D model from the grid line, you can just go to the home tab, and you will need to take the selection pane, and here you could see the object group. So this object group is actually this grid line. So if you turn off the eye, you can see that it's hidden. Now we can group this, we can select and group this as 1 unit. So you can just take the select objects, select all of these lines, go to the format, and then group and group. So now it's easy. So when you have the grid lines in a grid lines as a separate group, and you have the selection pane, it's easier to select different objects and control different objects. Having too many objects on the selection pane might be confusing, so it is always a good idea to rename the group. Now say this group, we can just turn off the eye for an identification and see whether what it is. So I think it's not properly grouped. Now these lines are not in the group, so we'll just have to include this. So we'll need to identify these lines. So I'll just click on this, click on this and see which line they are. So you can just hold down the control and click on all of them just like this. and then you will need to you will also need to select this main group and group it together. I'll go to format, group and group. Now let us recheck it. So I'll just turn off this eye icon. Okay, again one item was left. So again I'll select this one and this one, group it again. So I think now it's perfect. So now this group has grouped everything. Okay, this has also come inside this group. We will need to identify this. I think I can delete this. It's no longer required. So I can just select this, delete. Okay, now we have only two groups here. So now I'll just rename this group. You can make a double click here and I'll say 3D model 1, and this group represents the grid. So I'll just double click and rename this as grid. So now it's easier for us to identify. Okay, now let us see how to create ellipses and isocircles for 3D drawings. Normally you will need three kind of circles here. One is the top circle, other one is the left, and the third one is the right. So now you can use the ellipse or oval tool, then draw the oval. Now I'll remove the fill, and then there is one trick to do it. To get the top circle, I recommend that you get the top circle first. So what you can do is you can just draw a circle exactly on this square, on this cube. Then let us stretch the height exactly from here till here, and the width from here till here. Now we have got the perfect ellipse. Now you can hold down the shift key and resize this according to your requirement, just like this. You can use the arrow keys for fine tuning. Now you can copy this ellipse by pressing Ctrl D. Now for the right circle, I am going to rotate this. So I'll just go to the format, rotate, more rotation options, and let me rotate this to a 30 degree and see what happens. 30 degree. Now let us rotate this a little this side. Now let us check the angle. Okay, let us make this 120. Okay, so 120 degree will be ideal. Now you will need to just duplicate this and flip this horizontally and place it on the other side. So this is how you can create ellipses, 3D isocircles in Microsoft Word. Okay, now let us see how to draw elliptical arcs for 3D drawings. So now first thing is you will need to identify which plane the arc lies on. So now if you have a look at this arc, it is on the right side, and if you have a look at this arc, this ellipse, it is on the top side. So now if you just correlate this with this cube, you can understand it better. So now we can visually identify which side of the plane the ellipse is located. So it is located on this plane, so that is the right plane. Now what you can do is, first you will need to create a a diamond shape like this. So you will need to identify the position of the ellipse. So it starts from here, that is the ellipse will be created in this area. So first let us roughly create a guide for the ellipse. Now I think the ellipse will needs to be created till here. So I'll just roughly create this line. So the ellipse needs to come within this, it needs to be created within this area. So now to create the ellipse, you can take the curve tool and then just make clicks. Now this is the starting point. I'll make the first click here, and this is approximately the center position. So I'll click, make the second click here and the third click here. Then you can just press the enter key to end it. Now we can alter this ellipse by going to the edit points, edit shape and edit points. Now you get these points here, so you can just click on that. You could see a small box here, so you can just drag it. So these are control points. This allow you to alter the arc position. So now I'll click on this and again drag it. So now visually you can judge whether it is correct or not. So we can make sure that it comes within this area. So if it is a top circle, you should have created within this area. So you can roughly create a diamond shape here and create the elliptical arc inside it. Now we can delete these temporary lines that we created. I'll delete these lines. Now we can color this to the same outline color. Now we can copy this. See, now there is there needs to be a copy here as well. So I'll just copy this, hold down the control button and drag this on the other side. But now the challenge is we will need to erase a part of the line. So to do that, you can again select the arc, then go to the format, edit shapes, edit points. Now you can see that there is an intersection here. Just right click here carefully and then click on add point. Now you can delete these points. These points aren't required anymore. So right click, delete point, right click, delete point here as well. Now click on this dot here and adjust it. You will need to adjust this as well, just like that. So you can make sure that this is parallel to this first elliptical arc. I hope you understood how to create ellipses in 3D. Okay, now let us see how to create flat isometric maps. So now let me zoom this a little. See, I will need to change the orientation, so I'll just go to layout and then orientation, landscape. Let me zoom this as well. So first I'll give you some tips, like you can create the outer structure. So these I can consider as the outer structure, this one. So on the outer structure you can create the inside layouts. So first you will need to create this. Later we can think about the road and the pathway. So first you can go to the insert and then shapes. This time I am not going to use a line, instead I am going to use the freeform line. The reason is, using the freeform line you can fill the region. So you suppose, say if you're starting from here, you can click on the other point and then other point and then just continue clicking like this and then end it where you started. So this helps you fill the region just like this. So the same strategy we will be using to create the outer regions. So initially I will set this to no fill because I will need to see the grid line, that's why. So I'll just zoom it a little more. See, you can also edit the points and place it exactly where you want, just like this. You will need to make sure that you are just creating the lines along the grid line. So once you have created the layouts like this, so let me create 2-3 more layouts. So if you want a gap here or a road or a pathway or something, so you see I have just left two squares here, I mean 2 diamonds here. So I will start from here and create another region. Now 2 regions have been created. I'll just set the fill to no fill. Now let us create the inside regions. So I'll use the same freeform. See, if you have gone wrong, you can press the backspace and then click it once again. Now I'll choose a fill. I'll use this color and let me create I'll fill this again with this color. Now it's time to fill this the complete area. So now I'll just choose another color for this. I think this is okay. Okay, sorry, I'll choose the lightest for this and then a little darker for this, like that. Now let us see how to create a region like this, that is going out of the page area. so I guess the region is from here. So let me zoom this out so that you can see the entire page. Now I'll just take the free form and then say I will start from here. See, you cannot click outside and start, but you can start from either inside just like this and then click outside, so that happens, and then you can keep clicking and come back and click here where you started. So this is how you can create regions that go outside the page boundaries. Later you can use the edit points, but remember that the points which are inside the page can be edited. The points which are outside cannot be edited. So now this can be edited. I can move this here like that, and here too, if you wish, you can add a point and edit it, drag it. So if you are messed up, you can just delete it and create it once again. Now let us see how to create this roadway or the pathway. So first thing is, you can create this dotted line, and then later we can fill the background. So first I'll go to insert, shapes, and then you can use lines or freeform. If you are using the freeform, make sure that you are not just drawing continuously. So if you draw continuously, you will get a scribbled line like this. So you will need to make clicks. So just like this, you have to just keep clicking. First click, and then second and third, like that. So you will need to keep clicking, and then once you're done, press the enter key. So if you're using the lines, you can just create lines from here. Sorry, let me maximize this. You can use the lines like this and create all the dotted lines. See, if you want to draw continuously, it's better to use the free form. Just make clicks. In this way, you will need to create all the lines. Now I am done with all the lines. Now let me create the background color. To create the background, you can take the rectangle and draw a rectangle, stretch it to the full width, change the color, and then send this behind to all objects, send this to back, and then go to the same option and bring it in front of the grid lines. You can just click on bring forward. So now the next thing is, you will need to make the line appear as dotted lines. So just click on one of the lines and then go to the shape outline and then choose the desired color, and then go again, dashes, and choose the dot style that you want. Now you can just copy this style to all the other lines. You can use the Format Painter, make a double click and then click on other lines, just like this. Once you're done, you have to press the escape key. Now I hope you have understood how to create flat isometric maps. Okay, now let us see how to create 3D isometric maps. Let us start with this simple house drawing. Now let me take the freeform tool and say this is 2 units from here, just like this. Just draw along the grid and make sure the lines are parallel. If you want to create filled shapes, then use freeform tool instead of lines. If you have gone wrong in the middle of the drawing, use the backspace key to come one step back. If you accidentally move the grid, undo immediately. Now the drawing is created. To fine-tune this drawing, you can use the edit points. So you will need to click on each item here, go to the format and edit points, then move the anchor points to the desired location. You can also access the edit points by right clicking on the objects here and clicking on edit points. See, edit points are not available for the predefined shapes. It's available for the freeform lines, that I mean freeform shapes and lines that you have created. I mean, if you use these tools, you get the edit points option. So now let me fine tune this one as well. Sometimes you might have to remove the fill for a time being so that you could see the grid behind, then make the fine tuning and then again refill it with the color. So let me fill this with a different color. Now once you have created a house like this, you can make multiple copies. So now you can use you need to first group these together. To do that, it's always better to take the selection pane. If it is not available, then make sure that your Word document is saved to the latest file format. So I will go to the save as and save this. And click OK. Now you get the selection pane. So this is the grid layer. So I'll just turn off the eye icon. Now I get only this. Now select objects, select all the objects and then group it together, and then you can again reveal the grid. Now you can hold down the control and click and drag to make multiple copies. You can also resize the house as per your choice, so you can create many houses like this. Okay, now let us see how to draw arch like 3D shapes. First, if you're drawing a ellipse, I prefer that you create a bounding box first. Now say like this. I'm using the freeform tool. Now you can take the curve, then say this is the starting point. I'll make one click here, and this is the center point, and this is the end point. Then you will need to press the enter key to end the curve. Now you will need to use the edit points to edit and make it appear a perfect iso circle or a curve, 3D 3D elliptical curve. So yeah, I think this looks okay. Now you can make multiple copies of this. Just like this. Make sure that you are copying objects parallelly, and you also make sure that you are on the same grid line. So now if this is your tracking grid line, you should make sure that the copied item also stays on the same line. Now let me use the lines to create a tangent here, and I'll also need to make sure that it's parallel. Now I think you will need to erase this part of the line, so I'll need to right click, edit points, add a point here. So before adding a point, I think let me make this as a corner point, and then I'll add a point here and delete this point. Now adjust this one. Just like that. Now you can make multiple copies of this line. So before doing that, you need to exit the edit object editing mode. You can press the escape key. Now you can hold down the control button on your keyboard and make multiple copies. You can use your keyboard arrow keys to adjust the position. And finally you can press the escape key. Now I'll complete this portion with a line. Okay, now let me finish this 3D drawing. I'll use the freeform tool at some places. So you will need to use the freeform tool in case if you want to create continued lines and also you want to fill the shapes. Now I'll fill this with, for the time being I'll remove the fill. I'll use the curve here. And then edit points. I'll create one more shape that side. Okay, now let us see how to create stacked objects or multi-layered objects like this one. So in this case also I'll take the freeform. You need to plan it by layer, so which needs to be created first and next that you need to plan properly. So now I'll start from this shape and then this shape, then this one, like that. So let me start from here. See, if you have gone wrong, you can press the backspace and then click again. I'll remove the fill for the time being. Again, remove the fill. Once done, you can start filling up the shapes with the desired color. Okay, so far we tried to create some shapes. Using similar techniques, I created all of these 3D objects. So I created this castle, I created this buildings and all the stuff. So you can learn how to create the pathways from the previous steps. So I guess you got some idea how to create 3D isometric maps. I hope this tutorial was useful. So I'll see you all with another awesome content in the next video. Until then, it's bye from hbninfotech.com.